mild recession in the U.S. economy later this year.
Fauché says interest rate increases will likely continue until job growth slows to about 150,000 a month. Evacuations ordered in Northern California after a new atmospheric river brought heavy rain, thunderstorms, and strong winds, swelling rivers and creeks and flooding several major highways during the morning commute. In Santa Cruz County, a creek bloated by rain destroyed a portion of Main Street. That isolated several neighborhoods in Soquel, a town of about 10,000 people. The warm rain is melting lower parts of the huge snowpack built in California's mountains. On Wall Street, the Dow was down 344 points today, and the Nasdaq lost 199. More at townhall.com.
And it's Prager here. Sue and I mean it. Dogs are part of our family. We love Otto and Snoopy so much. There's nothing quite like their loyal companionship. So we provide them with Rough Greens. In fact, I just talked to my wife about it because we want them to be healthy and we want them to be with us as long as possible. That's true. I know Sebastian Gorka feels the same way.
The Pragers and I couldn't agree more. Our pups, Killian and Leia, rely on us to provide what's best for them. And naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black has packed Rough Greens full of vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, omega oils, and more that supplement their food in a way that has shown us great results. Trying out Rough Greens is an easy yes, recommended by me, Dr. G.
Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm so proud that the Pragers and Sebastian Gorka have entrusted their dog's health to Rough Greens. I'm so confident that Rough Greens can help your dog, I'm offering you a free Jumpstart trial bag. Just cover the shipping. Yes, your dog's food is dead food, but you can bring it back to life with Rough Greens. Go to ruffgreens.com.
Trains were canceled, some schools were shut down, and drivers were stuck for hours on a major highway as a blast of snow and wind hit Britain for the second time in a week.
Storm Larissa brought gales and blizzards to much of the UK. Experts said the worst hit areas were Northern England and North Wales, where 50-mile-per-hour winds were recorded alongside about a foot of snow. The highway that cuts across Northern England, known as the M62, was at a standstill, as some drivers had to wait 7 hours in traffic. Air travel was also disrupted, with most flights departing Liverpool John Lennon Airport delayed. Karen Chamas, London.
The last known survivor of a German group known as the White Rose that actively resisted the Nazis has died. Trauta LaFrance was 103. She had immigrated to the U.S. after the war. She married and later settled in South Carolina. Breaking news at townhall.com. As students struggle to recover from pandemic learning loss, experts say only a small fraction are getting the extra tutoring help they need.
Over a year and a half of disruptions from COVID-19 left a measurable learning gap for many U.S. students, but less than 10% received any kind of tutoring this fall. That's according to a survey of the nation's largest school districts by the Associated Press and the nonprofit Chalkbeat. On the question of why more students aren't getting tutoring, the AP found many parents didn't know it was available or didn't realize their children needed it. School districts have also struggled to hire tutors, and in cases where tutoring was available, the typical after-school and weekend scheduling didn't always work for families. I'm Jennifer King.
A vehicle crashed inside a terminal at the Wilmington International Airport in North Carolina. No one was injured. The driver, though, was charged with assault, trespassing, speeding, and disorderly conduct. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
News Talk 96.5 FM will be hosting a City of Jackson mayoral debate on Thursday, March 23rd at Northside High School Auditorium. The debate will begin at 6:30. All 6 qualified candidates for this mayoral race will be participating. News Talk 96.5 wants you, our listeners, to participate by submitting your What Do You Want to Know questions on our website. News Talk 96.5 will select a series of your submitted questions to be included and presented to the candidates in the live debates. Log on to newstalk965.com and submit your questions in the space provided. We invite you to attend the debate and hear the answers to the questions from each of the candidates for Jackson City Mayor. News Talk 96.5 FM and newstalk965.com will be hosting a City of Jackson mayoral debate on Thursday, March 23rd at Northside High School Auditorium. For more information, call our office at 731-800-6397.
Hi, my name's Dawn. I have been taking BioT at Advanced Medical. My moods are better. I sleep well. My husband has complimented me on the mood swings that are no longer affecting our marriage.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there's an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or cream.
I got blood work done, and they identified what hormones were out of balance. They gave me the bioidentical hormone pellets through BioT, and now I have more energy, no more brain fog, I'm sleeping better, and I feel like my old self again. I would recommend Advanced Rehab and Medical and their BioT program to anyone suffering with symptoms like mine. It's been life-changing.
To book your appointment, call 731-462-8580. That's 731-462-8580.
Welcome to Hampton Inn & Suites of Jackson. Make yourself at home in any of the 83 rooms or suites. Hampton Inn & Suites exit 83 at I-40 is minutes away from all Jackson destinations like the West Tennessee Healthcare Sportsplex, Casey Jones Village, Jackson Madison County General Hospital, and many industrial complexes. Enjoy free Wi-Fi, free parking, and free hot breakfast. Also a 24-hour fitness and business center. Welcome to West Tennessee. Make your reservations now by calling direct at 731-427-6100 or visit hampton.com.
When you need a heart expert, you need an expert with heart. Corbin Cardiology is dedicated to providing the highest quality cardiovascular care in West Tennessee. At Corbin Cardiology, our patient-centered approach, along with a full array of diagnostic imaging services, sets us apart from other cardiovascular clinics. Corbin Cardiology has clinics in Bartlett, Dyersburg, Lexington, and the newest location is now open in Jackson at 58 Murray Guard Drive. To schedule an appointment in office or by telemedicine, visit CorbinCardiology.com
or call 731-513-5701.
What's better than 20% over invoice or 15% over invoice or 10% over invoice? How about 0% over invoice? Wait, did I just say 0% over invoice? Hi, this is Sarah Beth Langley at Gene Langley Ford in Humboldt. As your authorized Ford ordering dealer, Gene Langley Ford in partnership with Ford Motor Company is accepting new orders at cost. So our price is your price. There's never been a better time to order your new Ford. Come see us today for details and let's get your new Ford car, truck, or SUV on its way to your driveway. Struggling with credit issues? Not here. Our finance department can work magic to get you approved. Plus, every new Ford comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. And if you're looking for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, check out the great selection on our lot and online. Updated daily at GeneLangleyFord.com. And remember, March is Ford Truck Month. You really should try Gene Langley Ford before you buy. The dealership service bill.
At cost offer excludes Mustang GT500 and Raptor. See dealer for warranty and financing details.
My name is Steven and I'm 41 years old. I started having problems with my weight, my focus, my energy all around. I spent thousands of dollars a year on supplements trying to get my weight down and it never worked.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there's an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or cream.
So I got the treatment and it has been the best decision of my life. I feel great. I'm losing weight. I have more energy. I'm getting stronger in the gym and I can focus so much better. And I notice that I also sleep better and I'm always in a good mood. And I believe it's all because of the BioT treatment.
To schedule an appointment to find out if BioTE is right for you, call 731-462-3596. That's 731-462-3596. Wake up with Wood. Daybreak with Greg Wood. Weekday morning 6 till 10 on 96.5 FM and Newstalk WTN.com.
Good afternoon. We are here.
You're not on. Your mic.
Yeah, I'm on.
Are you?
Yep. Is that better?
I'm not hearing you.
Okay, we'll fix it. Anyway, I'm Larry Newman, and we're here. Dr. Mark Fowler is here, and I'm going to turn it over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Jackson, Tennessee. This is Mark, Dr. Mark W. Fowler, and you're listening to 96.5 News Talk, Jackson, Tennessee. Coming to you from the Gene Langley Ford Studios. Gene Langley Ford is at 3500 East End Drive in Humboldt, family owned and operated, and you can shop online. And as I understand it, you can get a car to your specifications with zero additional cost over the manufacturer's price. We're so pleased to have with us today Ms. Sherry Freeman, who is the Executive Director of the Jackson Symphony Orchestra. We're going to do the weather here in just a second. And if you're looking for our leader, fearless leader, Lieutenant Dan, he is in Murfreesboro, and he is going to call the game tonight between the Lady Hawks, Jackson Southside Lady Hawks.
Tomorrow at 11.
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Larry, let's do the weather real quick, and then we'll introduce Sherry.
Okay. Currently in Jackson, Tennessee, it is 54 degrees. Feels like 54 degrees. Tonight, the low will be 37. Partly cloudy, patchy frost after midnight. Lows in the mid-30s. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. On Saturday, 54 for the high, 50% chance of rain showers. And Saturday night, be 50 degrees and thunderstorms. So we've got that going on. And then Sunday, 54, 50% chance of storms. And Sunday night, 37, partly cloudy. So we're going to get some more rain, but it's okay.
How much more rain are they calling for, do you know?
Well, 2 days worth. So thunderstorms and 50% chance both days. So
oh, my goodness.
We shall see.
All right. Welcome, Sherry Freeman. She's the Executive Director of the Jackson Symphony Orchestra, and they've got a big event coming tomorrow night, March the 11th, 2023. Sherry, what's happening?
Oh, we have, sorry about that. We have our last Masterworks concert of the season tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at the Ned. And we're very excited about the weekend and about the opportunity to perform. And it'll be a beautiful evening. We have a guest artist, Siwoo Kim, that'll be playing violin that night. So just a great opportunity, a great concert.
Fantastic. Now, is it just the one event, just the concert tomorrow night?
It is. It is. We just have the one Masterworks concert tomorrow night.
Now, the good news is you're almost sold out. So if you're interested in coming, how would they secure their tickets today?
Well, at this point, because we are at the point of being sold out, really about all we're saying is you can arrive and hope to get in.
Well, that's a good position to be in.
It really is. It really is. And we're excited, and we're excited that people want to be there. And really, we're just kind of at the point just to see if there happens to be some no-shows or people that don't show with tickets. But we're at our point of sold out.
Fantastic. Now, how many seats in the Ned? How many people will be in the audience?
It seats 440
Fantastic.
at the Ned.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
That's a good crowd. Now, we talked about the concert yesterday. The symphony, the fine arts are such a civilizing influence. And I hunted in Scotland last October under some very, very nice, elegant circumstances, and it just had a calming effect. And I think the symphony does the same thing, don't you?
I really do. I mean, we're just delighted to be a part of the community. We've been in West Tennessee now 62 years.
Wow.
And we are so much more, I always say, than an orchestra on a stage. There's work that we do daily inside the community. We send musicians twice a week into the Kirkland Cancer Center to play. We go to long-term and memory care facilities throughout the area. We have played at the Veterans Home. We have a full youth educational outreach program. We have a full youth orchestra. We have a children's choir. We teach violin to students as young as 4 years old.
Is that the violin or the fiddle?
Yeah, it's the violin,
with us.
All right. It's the violin with us.
All right.
And, so we do so much. And we do have a program tomorrow called Color of Music, which is put on by the Jackson Symphony League.
Right.
And that's where children in the schools all throughout the area listen to the two pieces, and then they interpret that in drawing. So tomorrow at 1:00 is our reception for that, and we announce our winners and award our winners for that event. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. It's a great, great evening. Is there a recommended attire? Is there a dress code?
Well, the symphony's considered a little more dressier than some things, but, we certainly welcome people. And I would say make sure you're usually warm. It's usually cooler in those. But, just come comfortable, come to enjoy.
So if I'm coming tomorrow in camo, I probably need to wear a tie.
No, you would not need a tie. I would tell you just to come on in.
Okay. But camo is welcome?
It is. If you feel like camo is going to meet your needs in that, just come on.
Fantastic.
You better be careful. You wear camo, they might not be able to see you.
Yeah, they may not recognize. Somebody would sit on me. That would be bad. That would be bad. Now, you mentioned this is the last concert of your series. How many concerts do you have in the season?
Well, we have 8 concerts in the season. That includes the Starlight Symphony, which is our large, free public concert that's put on in September every year. And then we have 3 Masterworks. Those take place in September and November, and then this last one now in March. And then we do 4 Pops, the 4 Pop series that are performed at the Carl Perkins Civic Center. And we have the October Pops, then the Holiday Pops, which is so popular in the community, the Valentine's Pops, which we just finished. And on April the 1st, we'll be doing our very last Pops, which will be our last concert of this series. And it is Rewind and the celebration of the music of the 80s.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
It's going to be a lot of fun that night.
Fantastic. Now, they say, this is the season. There's a season, and it starts, I think you said, in September?
September. Mm-hmm.
Now, and it runs through the cooler months and then stops in spring. Why is that? What's the story behind that?
Well, it kind of depends on where symphonies are located, how they do their season. I mean, when we end ours now, some symphonies will run like a summer season,
right?
Like in Hilton Head or places like that. Their symphonies will start up and run through the summer. This has just been the traditional symphony in Tennessee. I mean, this is pretty much the symphony series in other locations. Now, you have some symphonies like Nashville. That's a large symphony, and they employ their musicians full time year round.
Right.
So they don't really have a, so to speak, a start and stop. They do, but it's not as obvious as ours are.
Well, I wondered. It makes sense that it would correspond with in older times the end of the harvest season and stop just about the beginning of planting season when people would get busy.
It does, and we kind of I think of it a little bit as a school season almost, because as before people start traveling and we end it.
Now, you mentioned something about employed musicians. Are the Jackson Symphony musicians, are they employed, or is this volunteer?
No. Well, they're employed. Ours are all contract musicians.
Okay.
So we don't employ them full time. We contract them for a season. And so they come from all over. There's some locally, a lot come out of Memphis, a lot come out of Nashville.
Right.
So just, kind of depending on what we need. But Nashville now seats a lot of classical musicians in that area. There's a lot of studio work. Some of these musicians work in studio work after they leave the orchestra, or they may play for multiple orchestras, multiple symphonies. Some of them are professors at universities and teachers. So and so it's really interesting. It's wonderful to get to know them and learn their stories and hear them.
Now let me ask you. Let me put in a plug for something. It would be fantastic, because Union City does not have a symphony, for your symphony to put on a concert in Union City at least once a year. Is that a possibility?
Oh, it would certainly be something we'd love to do.
Okay.
We'd love to do that. We have gone and played like at the Soybean Festival before. So, we'd love to travel. In fact, we were just at Discovery Park of America this past weekend.
Were you?
And we had an ensemble group there. We have a group called that we call it Symphony on the Move.
Right.
And we have an ensemble group that you can hire to come and play. And we played in neighborhoods, we played in front yards, we played in town squares.
Fantastic.
We played all over. And we were just at Discovery Park this past weekend for their gala. And we had musicians there.
Now, what is an ensemble? What is that?
Well, usually comprise of a couple of violins. It'll have some percussion in it.
Right.
Might have a flute. Usually has a piano or keyboard. Will possibly have a bass.
But I'm not hearing you say anything about steel guitars, fiddles, or banjos.
Not in an orchestra.
You might want to think about that. Larry, so nice to have Miss Sherry Freeman, Executive Director of the Jackson Symphony Orchestra, with us here today. They're having, actually, it's not the last event, it's the next to last event.
It is.
It
is.
Tomorrow at the Ned, almost sold out. So you'll want to try to show up early and see if you can get some of those empty seats. Thank you, Miss Sherry, so much for coming.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Come back. Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming to you from the Gene Langley studio here in Jackson, Tennessee on Highland Avenue. Gene Langley folks are at 731-784-9311 at 3500 East End Drive, Humboldt, Tennessee. Our text line is sponsored by Advanced Rehab. And if you have a question or concern, you can text that to 731-800 text TEXT. Captain Dan or Larry Dan, Lieutenant Dan mentioned the Mayor's Candidate Forum. That's coming up on March 23rd at the Jackson Northside High School Auditorium. If you go to our website and you have a concern or question that you want us to pose to the mayoral candidates, enter your question there and we will look those over, and you may hear your question presented to the mayoral candidates on the 23rd. Thank you, Miss Sherry Freeman, for coming and giving us a little information about the Jackson Symphony. Let's survey the news, Larry, see what's happening. The big news for Jackson is the Lady Hawks from Jackson Southside won, and they will be facing Gibson South?
No, Gibson South lost.
Did
South
they
Gibson
lose?
lost.
Wow.
It's an academy. I'll think of it in a minute. It's I don't know. I'll come back to you on that. It's something academy.
Yeah.
I thought of it this morning, and it'll come back. But
well, give us the Reader's Digest version of the game, because it was a pretty good, interesting game. As I understand it.
Well, Southside came out, and Elizabethton basically was taking it to them. They were up by 16 at the half.
Is that right?
And they went in. And I'm sure Coach gave them that pep talk. They came out and they played Hawk basketball for the rest of the game.
They
cut that 16-point lead to 4, and then it kind of back and forth. They were tied at the end of the game.
Right.
So they had to play one overtime. They were tied at the end of that overtime. It's 4-minute overtimes. And then Southside pulled away. They hit 6 or 8 free throws in a row.
Wow.
Because they had to foul them.
Yeah.
And they hit every dadgum one of those free throws. So they had a 9-point lead, and that was enough to
put an end to it.
To slow them down, and they could never, and I think it was 20 seconds or something like that. Yeah. There's no way they were going to get 3 possessions.
Right.
To score in that amount of time. So
that was a fantastic game at
Southside. Oh yeah. Gosh.
Real barn burner. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk to you about our friends at Watson's Cleaning Service. Watson's Cleaning provides commercial service. They strip floors and wax the floors. They do buffing, cleaning offices, pulling trash, sweeping, mopping, and vacuuming. They do household cleaning as well, with the wiping down the baseboards, the walls, washing dishes, dusting, and organizing. Call our friends at Watson's Cleaning Service, 731-293-3808. If you're looking for work, the Jackson-Madison County Schools Career Fair is going to be held at Tuesday, March 21 at Oban Arena. Am I pronouncing that?
It's Oman.
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 All right, Oman.
It's named after Turi Oman. He was a big basketball coach.
Okay.
Coach here and teacher for years and years.
Okay. Well, I'm not from around here.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know some of this stuff. But anyway, at the Oman Arena, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., Tuesday, March 21, they're hiring for all positions in all departments: academics, technology, food service, transportation, athletics, safety, special education, and more. Survey the news, Brother Larry. President Biden has submitted his budget for the upcoming fiscal year, which begins October 1. It is thought to be a political document as opposed to a working document, but I suppose that everything that happens in Washington, D.C. is political. Bottom line, the president proposes to spend $6.1 trillion and expects to take in $4.6 trillion, adding $1 trillion, a little bit more than $1 trillion to the deficit. Now, it's time we had a frank discussion about what's going on with the budget, because the United States is in serious, serious financial trouble. May not look like it, you may not think so, but it is. The present budget deficit, Larry, is $31 trillion, or $94,000 per person. So between me, my ex-wife, my 2 children, my 2 grandchildren, several $100,000 are owed to the government. That's how much the government has spent per person. The interest alone on the debt is $400 billion, about 6% of federal expenses. Now, here's the thing. This will give you a sense of how long or how much a trillion, just $1 trillion is, well, 31 trillion. If you counted $31 trillion by $100 per second, in other words, you took a stack of $100 bills and you would count out $31 trillion by laying a $100 bill on the table per second, it would take you 54,000 years to count out all that money. An enormous amount of money. Yeah. There are 31, and I had to do the math 2 or 3 times because there's so many zeros, but that's what we're facing. And Joe Biden wants to add another trillion to the budget. Now, in fairness, every administration for decades has talked about the budget, but not every administration has actually done anything about it. The budget deficit has increased nearly every year with the exception of 1 or 2 years when the Republicans were in control and Bill Clinton was in the White House. But since that time, we have now incurred $31 trillion of deficits. Barack Obama doubled the deficit. The deficit was approximately $10 trillion when he came in. By the time he left, it was $22 trillion. $22 trillion when he left. It is now $31 trillion.
Wow.
So we've tacked on another $9 trillion to the budget. And the problem is this. It's not that people are not paying taxes. They are. For the last several years, every year has been a record in terms of tax revenues. So year after year after year, they collect more money, but they spend money faster than they collect it.
They're spending money faster than they can make it.
That's correct. Yeah, that is correct. Now, the theory behind all of this is something called moderate monetary theory, and we'll talk about that more in just a second. In the meantime, Larry, let's have a obscene profit commercial break.
Okay. Southside girls play Livingston Academy. That's who they're playing.
All right.
So we'll go to a break, and we will be right back.
They say consistency is the key to success. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently refreshing and light? Michelob Ultra, only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Central Distributors, Jackson. News Talk 96.5 FM will be hosting a City of Jackson mayoral debate on Thursday, March 23rd at Northside High School Auditorium. The debate will begin at 6:30. All 6 qualified candidates for this mayoral race will be participating. News Talk 96.5 wants you, our listeners, to participate by submitting your What Do You Want to Know questions on our website. News Talk 96.5 will select a series of your submitted questions to be included and presented to the candidates in the live debate. Log on to newstalk965.com and submit your questions in the space provided. We invite you to attend the debate and hear the answers to the questions from each of the candidates for Jackson City Mayor. News Talk 96.5 FM and newstalk965.com will be hosting a City of Jackson mayoral debate on Thursday, March 23rd at Northside High School Auditorium. For more information, call our office at 731-800-6397.
If you're in business, you know just how important each call is. You don't have time for phone or internet downtime. Your business needs a reliable communications partner 24/7. You need Lifeline Voice and Data. Lifeline Voice and Data provides telephone service to emergency service facilities all over West Tennessee and beyond. For your business, we don't just provide a phone line. We provide a lifeline. Lifeline Voice and Data.
Hi, my name's Dawn. I have been taking BioT at Advanced Medical. My moods are better. I sleep well. My husband has complimented me on the mood swings that are no longer affecting our marriage.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there's an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or cream.
I got blood work done, and they identified what hormones were out of balance. They gave me the bioidentical hormone pellets through BioT, and now I have more energy, no more brain fog, I'm sleeping better, and I feel like my old self again. I would recommend Advanced Rehab and Medical and their BioT program to anyone suffering with symptoms like mine. It's been life-changing.
To book your appointment, call 731-462-8580. That's 731-462-8580.
Hi, I'm Terica Smith, a local attorney and proud JMCSS graduate, but I'm also a JMCSS parent. We chose Jackson Madison County Schools for educational options that are innovative and challenging. Whether it's the Academic Academy at Northeast or early college and career opportunities at JCM Early College High, JMCSS offers classes and programs that will prepare my son for college and beyond. Plus, JMCSS is a Level 5 district and tuition free. It just makes sense.
Hi, I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for the Jackson-Madison County School System. With an increased focus in the fine arts, athletics, workforce development, and early career opportunities for students, there's never been a better time to choose us. Tuition-free, Jackson-Madison County Schools. Visit jmcss.org today to schedule a tour or call 731-345-7011.
Hey y'all, this is Mary at Mulligan's. Come see us soon before the new wears off. Hard to believe, but we're coming upon an anniversary in our locally family-owned business at Union University Drive. We still have our daily lunch specials, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., which will remind you of Grandma's cooking, or try our Irish dishes, fish and chips, Reuben's and shepherd's pie, or everyone's favorite, the Mully Burger. And how about brunch on Saturdays and Sundays? Yep, every weekend, serving Jackson for over 25 years. See you soon at Mulligan's.
Is your office or home office in need of a new printer, copier, fax, or multifunction machine? Do you need business cards, envelopes, or office supplies? Are you looking to upgrade to new office furniture? Office World Incorporated in Trenton has been serving all of the Gibson County and the West Tennessee area for over 65 years. Office World is a franchise partner of OfficeZilla. Call today, 731-855-9131, or email officeworldinc@gmail.com.
Take us with you wherever you go. Download our free apps for Apple and Android. Visit newstalkwtn.com. Then click to download.
Welcome back to 96.5 News Talk Radio in Jackson, Tennessee. This is Dr. Mark Fowler filling in for Lieutenant Dan Reeves. Lieutenant Dan is in Murfreesboro, and he's going to be calling the basketball game between Lawrence County. Was it Livingston County?
Livingston Academy.
Livingston Academy and the Lady Hawks from Jackson Southside tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Want to mention our good friends at CWA Development, our new phone line sponsor. CWA Development are experts in renovation and restoration, fire and water damage repair, plumbing, roof, and window cleaning. They're open Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., and the Sundays for emergencies, and their number is 731-503-9598. Welcome back. This is Dr. Mark Fowler. Lieutenant Dan Reeves is in Murfreesboro, and we're talking about Joe Biden's budget, the deficit, and modern monetary theory. The modern monetary theory, Larry, is that as long as you can service your debt, which is as long as you can make the interest payment, then there's no need to worry about the total deficit. And that theory really is not going to stand up in light of the real world experience. Presently, our debt is about 120% of our gross domestic product, meaning that, or by way of comparison, if you made $100,000 a year, a family making $100,000 a year would have total debt of $120,000 with no assets to show for it. No assets to show for it. Inflation is everywhere and always a function of spending has led us to a situation where we're experiencing 8% annual inflation. That's a month's salary. So working people who are barely making it are suddenly finding themselves, in effect, without a month's worth of salary. And Joe Biden is going to make that worse. Now, his plan to raise taxes is the usual tax propaganda pushed by many politicians. You know, the poor, the rich don't pay their fair share. And if only the rich would pay their fair share, everything would be all right, everyone would be fine, and we wouldn't be in this problem. Let's go over, and this is tedious, I understand it, but let's go over the facts from the Tax Forum about who pays how much taxes. To be in the top 1% of wage earners in the United States, you have to have an annual salary of over $750,000. And on average, you will pay 30% of your salary, which is about $230,000. By contrast, a single wage earner making $32,000 adjusted gross income will pay roughly $3,641 in taxes. The tax code in the United States has been and remains a progressive tax code. When it was initially enacted, it didn't kick in until a maximum income of, $40,000 or something like that, which was the equivalent of $4 million
right
today. And it was very modest. I think it was 6 or 7%. And then it was, bracketed down from there. It is continuing to be progressive. Now, here is the key. The key is if a fella is making $750,000, the first thing he's going to do is to go down and see his accountant. And he and his accountant are going to sit down, or she and his accountant are going to sit down, and they are going to identify and take advantage of every deduction they can get their hands on.
Oh, of course.
And I don't blame them.
No. That's what deductions are for.
That's exactly right. I wouldn't spend any more money than I absolutely had to. And the deductions just did not fall out of thin air into the tax code. They were written by politicians. So to say that Warren Buffett only pays X percent, a lower percentage of his income than his secretary, is to overlook a couple of facts. Warren Buffett is paying taxes on capital gains, and that's a different tax.
Yes, it is.
And his secretary is paying taxes on income, and that's a different tax. Well, how can that be fair? Well, the answer is easy. The Congress wrote the rules that way. And so year after year, election cycle after election cycle, we have politicians yammering about the fact that the tax code is unfair. Let's dig deeper, Larry. The bottom 50%, the bottom half of wage earners pay only about 3% of the total federal income taxes. The top half of wage earners pays 97% of the federal income taxes. So the wealthy are already paying their fair share. Of course, nobody ever defines what they mean by fair share, but they're constantly yammering about the rich don't pay their fair share. Here's some more information I thought you might find interesting. The top 1/10 of 1%, the top 1/10 of 1%, the very people at the very top, paid in 2018 $311 billion in taxes, or 20% of all income tax paid that year. And the top 0.1%, 1/10 of 1%, paid what they paid in was greater than the bottom 75% of income taxpayers combined. So just a handful of people paid more than the share of the bottom 75% of people combined. The top 1% of wage earners make 20% of the adjusted gross income, but pay 40% of the income taxes. So if you expand your tax-paying base to the top 1%, who make over $750,000, that cohort of people takes in 20% of the national income but pays 40% of the income taxes. So the top 50% of wage earners pay 97%, and the bottom 50% paid only 3% of the federal income taxes. Now, some people might argue, politicians might argue, well, still it's not fair. There are people with multiple cars, multiple homes, they have private jets, they have this, they have that. And apart from assessing that as simply envy, it's important to note that there are not enough rich people to get rid of the deficit. We ought to run through the deficit. $31 trillion. You took every penny from the top 1% of wage earners in this country, you would only have $4 trillion, $5 trillion. That's all it would do. So he wouldn't even pay the deficit. Ronald Reagan shared an interesting story when he was active in the film industry and making movies. And this would have been during the Eisenhower administration.
Right.
The top income bracket was 91%. And so they came to him one day and they said, would you like to make another film? And he was already in the top bracket. And he began to think about it, and it occurred to him, if he made another movie, he'd be paying 90% of it, 90 cents out of every dollar, into the federal treasury. And he said, well, it's really not worth my time. And he began to think about that and the implications of that. And the implications of that were this: the grips, the sound boys, the stagehands, the writers, the directors, the costume people would not have that work if he didn't work. And they wouldn't pay any taxes. And so it occurred to him that confiscatory taxes that confiscate that much wealth, don't just affect the rich, they affect everybody who works for the rich. The fact of the matter is, I have never worked for a poor person in my life. No poor person has ever given me a check to do anything of significance. They just don't have the money. But many wealthy people have. But the final nail in the coffin of this hypocrisy is this: the entire tax code is written by the United States Congress. It's not written by the special interest, although in reality I'm confident that there are lawyers and accountants who get together and say, we need special deductions for this oil equipment, or we need special deductions for this investment or this research and development. But the fact of the matter is, the United States Congress writes the tax code. And if it's unfair, it's up to the United States Congress to fix it. In the first 2 years of Obama's administration, the Democrats had the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and they could have rewritten the tax code if they so desired. They use the tax code. They use this rich don't pay their fair share trope against us. They use it to create envy and suspicion and hard feelings between
division.
And division.
Yeah.
They love that division, just like they did with COVID. But here's the thing. Bill Gates is a multi-billionaire, and Bill Gates has never done anything to me, but for 13 years, I have used his internet service for nothing. I write my columns on it. I send emails. I conduct business on it. It's never cost me a dime. Now, I don't know how he's making money on the internet. I guess it's through advertisement. But without Bill Gates, my life would certainly be a little bit more complicated. Jeff Bezos, never done anything to me. Who was that? Donald Trump? I've never bought anything from Donald Trump. But what all of these guys have in common is that they do something that the rest of the public is willing to give them money for. And that is a useful societal thing. Apart from football players, basketball players, professional athletes, apart from politicians, apart from drug dealers and pimps, the people who are wealthy because other people are willing to pay them to do something. The Walton family is wealthy not because they're nice people, but because they offer a service or they offer products in a way that is appealing to the public. Now, I'm interested to know how a politician at $174,000 a year buys 3 homes like Bernie Sanders did and travels all over the place on a salary that's small. I mean, how do you go in? I mean, Joe Biden's he's a multimillionaire, is he not? Yeah. And that's so interesting to me, how you can do that on $174,000, which is not a lot of money.
No.
Not a lot of money at all. In any event, it's time to stop beating the dead horse of the rich don't pay their fair share. They do pay their fair share. Or they pay significantly more than those in the lower tax brackets. Here's some data, what I was looking for a second ago. When the income tax was made constitutional under the 16th Amendment, the maximum tax rate was 7% on income over $500,000, which represented about $7 million in 1994 dollars. The tax on 1%, the tax was 1% on income over $20,000, which would have been roughly $298,000 in 1994 dollars. So even when this was first initiated, the tax code was progressive, and has been and remains progressive. Now, you hear people talk about corporations should pay more taxes. Corporations are not paying their fair share. Well, again, Chapter 1, all corporations are subject to the tax code written by the United States Congress. And if it's not fair, fix it, fellas. I can't fix it. You can't fix it.
I don't write the laws. I don't make the laws. That's their job
That is their
description.
job. That is their specialty. If it's not fair, they need to fix it rather than trying to divide us. But Larry, I can make the argument that corporations ought not pay any taxes whatsoever. And I know some people will be apoplectic when I say that, but here's what I'm talking about. Most corporations are subchapter S corporations, and that means they're mom and pop organizations. Years and years ago, I worked for a place called Union City Tire and Appliance, mom and pop operation. They sold tires and they sold appliances. And I'm confident they had a subchapter S corporation, meaning that they paid themselves wages, but all of that income flowed through the corporation and they paid taxes on their income.
Right.
All right. In that posture, they're paying taxes just like the rest of us. All right, let's set that aside. Consider the retired teacher who has put her savings or his savings into an IRA. And in that IRA is owned stock in IBM. IBM stock was sold either to the mutual fund holder or, in fact, maybe to the teacher for a certain amount of money. That money just didn't fall out of the atmosphere. It was earned by somebody and has already been taxed once. And so when you put your money in a corporation expecting dividends or an increase in shares. What you're expecting is a return on the money that you have already paid taxes on. Well, people will say, no, that's not true. That's not how it works, and that makes no difference. Corporations are greedy. They steal all this money. They accumulate all this money, and it's not right. Well, to a corporation, a tax is an expense. And if they're not paying that tax, they're either going to distribute it to their stockholders, bondholders, or they're going to reinvest it, or they're going to lower the price of their products, or they're going to give it to their employees. They're not just going to put it in a room full of dollar bills. So you could make the argument that corporate taxes are really another tax on top of the existing tax. So I think a reasonable argument can be made that we ought to eliminate taxes on corporations, let the money flow to the tax holders, to the stockholders, let it flow to the employees, let it reduce the price of whatever it is corporations sell. I think that would be the way to approach the tax problem. But as we talked about a few minutes ago, year after year after year, the government takes in more money and spends more money than they take in. And it seems as though they have no control, no ability to say no, no ability to say, let's take a reasoned look. The frequency with which we've had to do continuing budget resolutions is problematic, because that means 3 days before they have to vote, a 4,000-page document comes out to continue the government in operation. There is actually a procedure for initiating and enacting the budget. It starts now. The president submits a budget. The various House committees and Senate committees go over that budget and presumably debate on whether or not we need to put a bridge here or whether or not we need to expand expenditures over here. And this process goes on for several months until the budget is enacted shortly before October 1st, the beginning of the fiscal year. But they're not doing that. They are sitting on their hands until the absolute last minute, and then they create a crisis. And they say, well, if this money's already been spent, and if you don't approve the increase in the budget deficit, we're all going to collapse. I would just assume it come to a halt anyway and start over from zero, But these government agencies. You ever heard of the Raisin Price Control Board?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah.
What do you know about the Raisin Price Control Board?
Not a lot, other than I used to know, more about it. But,
yeah. It was initiated during the Depression to support the price of grapes and raisins so that grape growers and raisin growers would not go bankrupt. Now, here we are 80 years post-Depression, and we still have the Raisin Growers Control Board. Now, I cannot imagine what it is they do, and nor can I imagine how helpful it is either to the raisin growers, and presumably they charge them a fee to participate in the Grape Growers, Raisin Growers Association, and for that fee they have several bureaucrats on board, and economists and lawyers and secretaries and so forth and so on, to make sure that the price of grapes is maintained. And that's the kind of thing that happens with the government. Once they start, they never finish.
Yeah, it's never over.
It is never over. The other day, somebody suggested a 5-year sunset, which means that every 5 years you'd have to start from zero and rebuild the federal government budget. Now, that's not a bad idea. Particularly when you think about how many of these projects, like the Raisin Growers Control Board, would come to light and somebody would say, we don't need this anymore, so let's cut that out of the budget. But there's always somebody who is a brother-in-law of a congressman or a congressman's friend who's probably staffing the Raisin Growers Control Board. And they're going to say to the congressman, listen, I've worked here for 10 years. Please don't cut my job, and so forth. The very same thing happened when they started eliminating military bases they no longer needed. And this is what that comes to. The public is not entirely free from fault in terms of the budget deficit, because the public always wants more than they're willing to pay for. And as a consequence, we have military bases we don't really need. We have the Raising Control Growers Board we don't really need because people insist that these things be done. You remember the bridge to nowhere in Alaska? Somebody had wanted to build a multi-million-dollar bridge to some small set of islands or something like that. And politicians get reelected or presumably get reelected on the basis of their ability to bring home the bacon, so to speak. Anyway, talking about our friends at CWA Development, our new telephone line sponsor. These are the CWA phone lines, and the phone line is 731-265-6496. Give us a call if you're interested in sharing your thoughts with us, or if you want to point out why I'm absolutely, totally out of my mind. We'd be glad to hear from you. CWA Development, they are experts in renovation, restoration, water damage, fire damage. They offer skilled services in terms of work on gutter, roof, and window cleaning, power washing, fence and deck repairs, lawnmower repairs, that's pretty handy, window and door frames, baseboard and trim. Good folks, 80 years of experience. Coming up before too long, an evening with a Rocket. The Rocket, Roger Clemens, is going to be a speaker and guest at April 14th at the Meridian Baptist Church in Jackson, Tennessee. He'll be coming to benefit the Trey Lindsay Scholarship. He has 7 Cy Young Awards, 354 wins, 4,672 strikeouts, a career spanning 24 years with the Red Sox, Yankees, Blue Jays, and Astros. In addition to Roger Clemens being there, they're going to have a silent auction with sports and celebrity memorabilia with hunt packages, duck calls, vacation packages, restaurant packages, and so forth and so on. If you're interested, give them a call at 731-217-7187 or reach out to them via email at Rocket Roger, capital R, Rocket, capital R, Roger, R-O-G-E-R, 2023 at gmail.com for sponsorship information. Larry, what's the weather looking like today?
Well, it's going to be nice till tonight when we got some frost coming in. It should be about 37 tonight, and they're calling for frost. So we got that going on. I didn't give the barometric pressure in Bemis.
Yeah, they stopped the traffic.
I did this morning, and I forgot to do it today. So we'll throw that in there as soon as it pops up.
What's the barometric pressure in Bemis?
30.03.
30.03. Fantastic. All right.
They live for that.
Yes, they do. We have to have the barometric pressure. Everybody else gets all out of whack. Remember Gene Langley Ford. We're talking to you from Gene Langley Ford Studios here at News Talk 96.5. Gene Langley Ford at 3500 East End Drive, Humboldt. Family owned and operated. This dealership was built on service. They're good folks, reliable folks, honest folks, and they have, as you know, that lifetime warranty.
Yes, they do.
And that's fantastic. That's a fantastic opportunity. And that comes from competition.
Oh, exactly.
And if they did not have that competition, they might not be inclined to do that, but they want to get more customers and they want to provide a good service to their customers. And if there was a single government entity selling vehicles, I can promise you one thing, there'd be no lifetime warranty. Our text line sponsor is Advanced Rehab and Medical. The text line number is 731-800-TEXT. Send us a text if you have questions or concerns. And we're reaching the top of the hour, and we're going to talk about the career fair and some other things when we get back.
We'll be right back.
This is WBFG 96.5 FM, 96.5 FM, Parker's Crossroads, Jackson.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. An atmospheric pineapple express is bringing flood concerns to California. Correspondent Jennifer King has more.
In the California mountains, even residents who enjoy the snow have just about had it.
We keep digging out.
Lindsay Baker is a public information officer for South Lake Tahoe.
People who have been here for a very long time have said this is more snow than they've ever seen.
Battalion Chief Kim George is with South Lake Tahoe Fire Rescue.
With all of the snow load and the amount of weight that's sitting on roofs, we have some pretty significant concerns.
Forecasters are warning of the threat of flooding as a river of moisture streaming from the Pacific dumped a combination of heavy rain and snow on central and northern California. This year's massive snowpack can absorb some of the precipitation, but elevations below 400 feet will see melting and runoff. Audio courtesy KGO. I'm Jennifer King.
Calling Ron DeSantis the strongest Republican available, a former Trump administration official is backing the Florida governor in a potential bid for the GOP presidential nomination.
Former Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli served as acting Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security in the Trump administration. Now he's launching a Never Back Down political action committee that's urging DeSantis to seek the GOP nomination. The PAC plans to highlight DeSantis' achievements and encourage voters to sign a petition calling on him to run for the White House. Cuccinelli says grassroots conservatives see the governor as a leader and a fighter with a winning conservative track record. Rich Thomason reporting.
The U.S. rushed to seize the assets of Silicon Valley Bank after a run on the bank, the largest failure of a financial institution since Washington Mutual during the height of the financial crisis more than a decade ago. That sent a shudder through Wall Street. The Dow was down by 345 points. The Nasdaq dropped 199. The S&P 500 lower by 56. More at townhall.com.
My name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. You can protect your hard-earned retirement assets with a tax-free loophole that allows you to convert your retirement into physical gold and silver. Advantage Gold is the nation's highest-rated gold company. They have the best process, pricing, and service. If you want to get your free gold and silver investment kit, please contact Advantage Gold right now. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
Everyone is talking about Jesus Revolution. Witness the untold origin story.
Our country is a dark and divided place, but now there's hope, and it's spreading.
Of the last spiritual awakening in American history.
This is your home, and I want you to tell all your friends about it.
Jesus Revolution, starring Jonathan Rumi and Kelsey Grammer. Rated PG-13. Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13. Jesus Revolution. Only in theaters now.
Congressman Bill Huizenga has been selected to lead the House GOP battle against the progressive investment standards known as ESG, Environment, Social, and Governance. He says Democrats are seeking to allow fund managers to invest in woke companies using Americans' retirement savings.
Government pension, your CalPERS pension, your individual 401k, whatever it might be. If they're investing this, the simple fact is you have no say in it.
Huizenga says the president's decision to allow fund managers to invest in corporations based on ESG not only supports woke causes, but does a major disservice to investors.
And there's something called the fiduciary responsibility to make sure that you are maximizing return and doing the best thing for the client and for the investor.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. American Airlines is promising significant pay raises to pilots to match a recent deal at rival Delta Airlines.
American CEO Robert Isom says he's ready to give pilots raises and higher retirement contributions that would average 40% over 4 years. Isom says top pay for a senior pilot would hit $590,000 by the end of the deal. Meanwhile, the Allied Pilots Association says its board has decided to survey members on authorizing a strike. A union spokesman says the strike vote has been contemplated for several months as a backup in case the union can't reach a deal with American.
Correspondent Jeremy House. Belgium's prime minister says TikTok's being banned from government phones over worries about cybersecurity, privacy, and misinformation. The Chinese-owned video sharing app will be temporarily prohibited from devices owned or paid for by the federal government for at least 6 months. More at townhall.com.
News Talk 96.5 FM will be hosting a City of Jackson mayoral debate on Thursday, March 23rd at Northside High School Auditorium. The debate will begin at 6:30. All 6 qualified candidates for this mayoral race will be participating. News Talk 96.5 wants you, our listeners, to participate by submitting your What Do You Want to Know questions on our website. News Talk 96.5 will select a series of your submitted questions to be included and presented to the candidates in the live debate. Log on to newstalk965.com and submit your questions in the space provided. We invite you to attend the debate and hear the answers to the questions from each of the candidates for Jackson City Mayor. News Talk 96.5 FM and newstalk965.com will be hosting a City of Jackson mayoral debate on Thursday, March 23rd at Northside High School Auditorium. For more information, call our office at 731-800-6397.
What's better than 20% over invoice, or 15% over invoice, or 10% over invoice? How about 0% over invoice? Wait, did I just say 0% over invoice? Hi, this is Sarah Beth Langley at Gene Langley Ford in Humboldt. As your authorized Ford ordering dealer, Gene Langley Ford, in partnership with Ford Motor Company, is accepting new orders at cost. So our price is your price. There's never been a better time to order your new Ford. Come see us today for details, and let's get your new Ford car, truck, or SUV on its way to your driveway. Struggling with credit issues? Not here. Our finance department can work magic to get you approved. Plus, every new Ford comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. And if you're looking for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, check out the great selection on our lot and online. Updated daily at GeneLangleyFord.com. And remember, March is Ford Truck Month. You really should try Gene Langley Ford before you buy. The dealership service bill.
At cost offer excludes Mustang GT500 and Raptor. See dealer for warranty and financing.
Hey y'all, this is Mary at Mulligan's. Come see us soon before the new wears off. Hard to believe, but we're coming upon an anniversary in our locally family-owned business at Union University Drive. We still have our daily lunch specials, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., which will remind you of Grandma's cooking, or try our Irish dishes, fish and chips, Reuben's and shepherd's pie, or everyone's favorite, the Mully Burger. And how about brunch on Saturdays and Sundays? Yep, every weekend, serving Jackson for over 25 years. See you soon at Mulligan's.
Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range, date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get: a shooting lane for two targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The Range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt U.S. Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name's Dawn. I have been taking BioT at Advanced Medical. My moods are better. I sleep well. My husband has complimented me on the mood swings that are no longer affecting our marriage.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there's an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or cream.
I got blood work done, and they identified what hormones were out of balance. They gave me the bioidentical hormone pellets through BioT, and now I have more energy, no more brain fog, I'm sleeping better, and I feel like my old self again. I would recommend Advanced Rehab and Medical and their BioT program to anyone suffering with symptoms like mine. It's been life-changing.
To book your appointment, call 731-462-8580. That's 731-462-8580.
96.5 FM. Home of the Dan Reeves Show.
Weekday afternoons, 3 till 6.
All right, welcome to News Talk 96.5 Jackson, Tennessee. This is the Dan Reeves Show. Lieutenant Dan is in Murfreesboro, and tomorrow he will be announcing the game between the Jackson Southside Ladyhawks and the Livingston Academy basketball team. Bringing to you information about Watson's Cleaning Service, our good friends. They provide cleaning for commercial and residential services, stripping and waxing floors, buffing, cleaning offices, pulling trash, sweeping and mopping and vacuuming, and household cleanings. They do baseboards, wipe down the walls, wash dishes, dust, and organize. Reach out to our friends if you can use their services, 731-293-3808.
And they clean our studio.
Yeah, they do a good job.
And they come in and they say hello, and then they work, get it done. Excellent job. I can always tell when we need it. We're getting to about that point, and I'll come in one day and everything will be clean.
Perfect. Isn't that great?
Man.
I have an excellent housekeeper, and it makes the house more comfortable.
Right.
It really does. Jackson-Madison County Schools will be having a career fair Tuesday, March 21 at Oman Arena, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at 179 Lane Avenue, Jackson, Tennessee. They're hiring for all positions, academics, technology, food service, transportation, athletics, safety, special education, and more. Visit jmcss.org/jobs now to apply. We're coming to you from the Gene Langley Ford Studios. Our good friends at Gene Langley Ford are at 3500 East End Drive in Humboldt. Family owned and operated, and you can shop online and build a car or truck that you would like. They have new cars, used cars. This is a really great operation. It's a dealership that's service built, and remember, they have a lifetime warranty. Our text line sponsorship is Advanced Rehab and Medical. The number is 731-800-TEXT. If you have chronic joint pain, back pain, neck pain, if you have the sniffles, a cough, a sneeze, or a rash, go out and see our friends at Advanced Rehab and Medical or Urgent 45. They're all there together. And if you want to pamper your spouse, get her a gift certificate to Beauty to the Bone. Larry, survey of the news. Corey Bush is in the news. There is a gentleman named Epstein, Alex Epstein, who is testifying about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And she says, I don't want to hear from you. You're a racist. And she says, you are a racist because you say that Western civilization is superior to other civilizations. And you are a racist, and therefore you should not be in front of us. You should hang your head in shame. And he sent her a hardball, a fastball back, and said he defends everything he says. I am a little tired of the racist trope everywhere, every time, about everything. If everything is racist, nothing is racist.
Right.
And a man who's talking about something as esoteric as the Strategic Petroleum Reserve probably knows what he's talking about. And she was pulling a reference from a college newspaper column that he wrote back in 2000. But setting aside whether college students do or do not know what they're talking about, I don't see anything racist about saying Western civilization, with all that that encompasses, is necessarily a superior civilization compared to Japanese, Chinese, Latin America. All of them have attributes that are admirable and attributes that are not admirable. Western civilization gave us Shakespeare, Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, the corporation, the greatest accumulation of wealth and prosperity, safety, and health anywhere in the world. And if that's not enough to make it a qualified as a great civilization, I don't know what it would be. Jane Fonda is back in the news. You and Jane are tight, aren't you? Are you and Jane tight?
No. No, I don't have much to do with Jane Fonda.
Oh, I see. Well, Jane's 83 years old, and I don't know whether she's demented or just pleasantly confused, but she's advocating on behalf of women's reproductive rights. Language is important. Nobody wants to interfere with any woman's reproductive rights. If they want to reproduce, they can reproduce. What we have concerns about is the taking of the life of a baby. Now, you can call it a fetus, you can call it a clump of cells, but it is nevertheless going to be a human being if you let it live. And if you're a woman, it's appropriate for you to think, if I'm engaged in sex, I could get pregnant. If I could get pregnant, that might be bad. And if that's going to be bad, I don't want to have an abortion. Therefore, I'm going to use birth control. That seems to me fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
Several years ago, and let me see if I can remember this lady's name. She was a law student, and Rush Limbaugh got into a big brouhaha about her. She spoke at the Democratic National Convention about the need for subsidies for birth control. Do you remember that lady?
Yeah.
Okay. Was a law student at some expensive, exotic law school on the East Coast, and she became a public interest lawyer. And her position was that she and many of her friends struggled to pay $3,000 a year for birth control. And that was not the world or the nation that we wanted to live in, and therefore women should get subsidies for birth control. Well, my first comment was, who is she having so much sex with that she needs $3,000 worth of birth control in a year? And secondarily, assuming that she is, why don't those two pay for it? Because I'm not getting anything out of that deal. What was her name? What was her name? Excuse me. What was her name?
Oh, don't ask me.
It was a funny name, and Rush Limbaugh got in trouble for speaking disparagingly of her. But in any event, you know, if you're going to engage in sex, you should bring protection with you, birth control with you. Now, and you can go anywhere. You can go to the health department and get free condoms.
Right.
Birth control pills are not all that expensive. They run about $30 to $45 a month, I think, the last time I looked. But certainly to argue that because I'm going to an expensive law school and having so much sex, I need financial assistance with my birth control seems a little bit odd to me. But anyway, I know her parents are proud because she's a public advocate advocating for more birth control. Jane Fonda's in the news. Jane Fonda says that we are interfering with women's reproductive rights, and they're going to continue to fight for the right to have an abortion. And as a consequence, she'll take that as far as it needs to go. She was on The View, and you know how moderate they are.
Oh, yeah.
Reasoned and understanding and intellectually solid. And one of them said, well, how far are you willing to go? And Jane Fonda said something to the fact that murder was not out of the question. Well, everybody tittered a little bit. And she didn't smile. She didn't do anything. And so she looked at them and they looked at her. And somebody said, you're kidding, right? You're kidding. And she didn't flinch. I don't think she was kidding. But in any event, that's extreme. Can't we all come to an agreement on that? Does that have to divide us, Larry? Abortion?
It shouldn't divide us, but
it does.
It does.
It does. And it's a shame. You know, we live in a fallen world. I get that. We live in a world where people get tangled up and they get upset and they get in a bind and they need to do something. I get all of that. But surely that can be dealt with early on rather than waiting to the last minute in a late-term abortion, which is just barbarism.
What was the saying? My body, my right.
My body, my choice.
My choice.
Yeah.
And then when the vaccine came out,
yeah, they were going to force
and they were going to force you. No, you're not. It's my body, my choice. That's what I said.
Yeah, it's funny how progressives shift their stance as time passes. Anyway, Larry, I had a good time this morning. I was preparing my taxes, pages and pages and pages to fill out. I know you enjoy paying your taxes, don't you?
Oh,
you're a good patriot.
Yes, I am.
Well, Joe Biden said the patriotic thing was to pay taxes. Has Joe Biden ever met a tax he didn't like?
No.
Has he ever met a government expenditure he didn't like?
No.
Joe Biden yesterday was caught on camera saying that MAGA Republicans wanted to defund the police. And that's a little troublesome.
Yeah.
To me, because
it's just an outlie.
Yeah. Apart from that, but Joe's appreciation of the truth is a little weak.
Yes, it is.
And has been weak for many, many years. He was in law school. He almost got kicked out for plagiarism. He ran for president 3 times, and one of the first 2 times, he gave a speech that was almost word for word from Neil Kinnock, who was a Labour candidate for Prime Minister in England. And it was the speech that talked about the only way that I would have gotten this far in law school in the United States Senate is that I had a platform upon which I could stand. And word for word from Neil Kinnock.
Right.
And he got caught, and he had to quit. And then all this nonsense about corn pop and being a truck driver and what else has he lied? Every time you turn around, he was raised in some different format, depending on who he's talking to. Raised in the black church, I think, and then for a while he was Puerto Rican, and it just goes on and on and on. But the thing that bothers me is this. If he really believes that MAGA Republicans want to defund the police, he's delusional or lying. I mean,
both.
Or both. And what other conclusion can you draw?
You can't. There's no other.
No.
It's Trump is making a comeback.
Right.
And it's starting all over again.
Yeah.
That, hammer, hammer, hammer.
Right. Everything is Trump's fault.
Just make a lies, gas is as high as it is because when Trump was president, he didn't do anything about gas. Who closed the pipeline? Joe?
Joe did.
Yeah. So,
Joe did. Well, I'm not significantly better off now than when I was when President Trump was president. Everything costs more. I was going through my list of expenses, internet, television. All of that costs more this year than it did last year. My 401k is down 20%. We're just taking a beating. Anyway, watch out for Jane Fonda. She's upset. China's back in the news. China may have disrupted an internet cable that connects Taiwan to the internet. This is part of an ongoing aggressive posture toward Taiwan, and there are many people very concerned that China will take over Taiwan. And we want to talk about Taiwan just a minute. Years ago, Taiwan was part of China.
Right.
All right. And it split off, and there was a faction led by General Chiang Kai-shek, I think was his name. And they wound up leasing Taiwan from the British, who had previously been in control of Taiwan. It was part of their empire. And that lease expired in 1999, and the Britons had to give Taiwan back to China. But Taiwan is an island off of China, very prosperous, very free, very important industrial center, even though it's a small place. They make a lot of computer chips.
Yes,
there.
they do.
And so China has an interest in taking over Taiwan. For the life of me, I suppose they want that chip technology. I don't know. But in any event, threatening and harassing Taiwan, which must be a difficult situation for people in Taiwan to have to deal with. Now they're disrupting the cable. They have repeated air overflights over the island, coming close to the island. It puts the Taiwanese Air Force on alert, and they have to get ready, and then they get their ships too close to the Taiwan island. So it's a very troublesome situation, and the problem is it is so far away that we're going to have a difficult time responding in time if Taiwan is invaded. And previously, the diplomacy was that we're not going to say it, but we're going to back up Taiwan, which gives you an out if you have to take it. But in the situation where Taiwan is halfway across the world, we have still not delivered to them a number of arms, missiles, and planes that they have paid for. And they did a war game involving China's invasion of Taiwan, and they gamed this out. And what they found was that we would run out of ship and anti-aircraft missiles in about a week. So we've put ourselves in a difficult situation, and hopefully the Republicans will get on top of that and try to address that very quickly. West Virginia's in the news. West Virginia enacted a statute that prohibited males from playing on female sports, even if they were transgender. Now, have you noticed that this transgender thing tends to run just one direction?
Right.
The biological males want to play on the females' team, but you never hear of a biological female wanting to play on the boys' teams. That's kind of odd.
Well, there's no advantage.
Well, there's no advantage, and they would obviously be embarrassed if they could.
And women are smarter than men.
Well, that's true. So, anyway, Virginia enacted a statute. A young lady who was a transgender wanted to participate in cross country and track. Now, she was a transgender woman. It's a little hard to keep up with all the terminology, but she is a biological male. And she wanted to participate in cross country and track. Well, you can see what's going to come. And what's going to come is she's going to have an advantage because she's a biological male. Stronger, faster, more lung capacity, more cardiac capacity. So the trial court initially did not act on the plaintiff's petition, then ultimately reversed himself and said, yes, this statute based on the record is constitutional, and therefore I'm going to allow the statute to move forward and to be put in operation. They appealed to the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, and the Fourth Circuit reversed the decision of the trial court and imposed an injunction preventing state authorities from enforcing it. And West Virginia has appealed that ruling to the United States Supreme Court. So this may be one of the first transgender cases that we're going to see. And as we talked about yesterday, I don't walk around and hear anybody wishing ill towards transgender people. I don't. You don't.
No, I don't.
You know, and we all want them to be happy and graceful and enjoy their lives. But just as though we don't allow a 20-year-old to say, I identify as an 8-year-old to play minor league baseball, we should not allow transgender men to participate in women's sports. Now, chess, fine. Checkers, fine. Badminton, I don't care. But otherwise, you put these young ladies in a terrible situation. And I cannot for the life of me understand why the self-esteem of one person is sufficient to outweigh the potential injury of self-esteem to everybody else. Which, what's happened when Leah Thomas jumps in that pool, all the other girls know instantly their chances of prevailing are zero, because he wins virtually everything. And he doesn't win it by a head or stroke. He wins it by seconds, which is a lifetime. It's an eternity in swimming. But anyway. What else is in the news? Earthquake in Turkey, 46,000 deaths out of a population of 82 million. 240,000 apartments destroyed. Let's see, how many people live in Jackson? Do you know?
About 186,000 in Metro Jackson.
Yeah.
Or whatever, Jackson.
Yeah.
With the two, let's see, I think it's Humboldt and Henderson.
So imagine
Metro Jackson.
Yeah, one of every 4 persons in Jackson Metro General killed, and 240,000 housing units lost. That's a devastating event. And it is still cold over there. By this time, they have pulled out everybody who's going to be pulled out, but they're still struggling for water, food. Transportation and logistics is an issue because the roads are destroyed, buildings are collapsed in the street. If this bothers you, if you want to help, if you want to do some good, get in touch with the Red Cross or Samaritan's Purse. And if you don't like those two, you can look up Charity Watch, which will give you a good idea about how to give ethically and responsibly to help the people in the earthquake or victims of the earthquake in Turkey. What else is happening in the news?
Well, nothing else in the news. I did have an article. I'll have to pull it back up because I'm holding on some things here. Let's talk about the mayoral debate.
Yeah.
That's going to be on the 23rd of March, and we're going to carry it. Dan and Chuck Walker and Mr. Hart.
Right.
They're going to moderate. And I don't know, didn't Dan ask you if you wanted to do something
He
on
did.
that?
I may be out there taking up tickets or, making weird comments from the, I don't know.
But you can ask questions. You can send them in, go to our website, and there's a place there that you can type a question in, and then they're going to pick, questions that they're going to ask them
right
during this debate. Now, the candidates for City of Jackson mayor are the following people. Of course, incumbent Scott Conger.
Right.
Ray Condry. Darrell Hubbard. Paul Sherrod. Lisa Williams Lyons. And Jerry Wayne Woods. So those are the 6 candidates for mayor of Jackson. Election day is May the 2nd, and early voting begins April the 12th through the 27th.
Okay.
So you can make your voice heard, and we should have more than 20%
I hope
of
so.
people coming out and vote. Like, it's pathetic.
Now, do you know anything about these candidates apart from the mayor? Are they businessmen?
Well, Ray's been here several times.
Okay.
We've actually had everybody. I don't think Paul Sherrod's been in here. He might have been in with Dan, and I wasn't here, but all the rest of them have been in studio.
Okay.
Good. And giving us, what they think Jackson needs and so on and so forth. And I mean, that's what elections are about. Tell me what are you going to do for me?
Right. Exactly right. Well,
And, what are your ideas and what are your plans? And then you go from there. And,
exactly
we'll
right.
see.
Fantastic. And they're welcome back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're welcome back.
The law student we were talking about, the Rush Limbaugh, Sandra Fluck was her name. And this was, time flies, this was in February of 2012. That's how long ago that's been. Anyway, Ms. Fluck was advocating that the federal government should pay for birth control for all women, arguing, among other things, that it was cheaper to pay for birth control than it would be to pay for contraception, which doesn't carry a great deal of water. Rush Limbaugh paid a significant price for that. He did apologize. He says, for over 20 years, I have illustrated the absurd with absurdity 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. In this instant, I chose the wrong words in my analogy of the situation. I didn't intend to personally attack Mrs. Fluck. And I think that it is absolutely absurd during these very serious political times. We are discussing personal, sectional, recreational activities before members of Congress. She did not accept his apology, and he paid a price for that. Several of his sponsors abandoned his show. Some radio stations abandoned his show. So he paid a price for that, which leads me to the next topic. The First Amendment was intended to prevent the government from interfering with our freedom of speech. But as we all know, Twitter significantly interfered with freedom of speech in a number of ways. One of the things they did was to interfere with those people who argued that Hunter Biden's laptop was not a Russian hoax and was in fact authentic. Twitter shut them down, shut down President Trump. They pushed the narrative that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian propaganda. They pushed the narrative that Trump was a Russian stooge, and they kept that narrative alive for some period of time. Elon Musk came in and discovered, among other things, that the FBI had interfered, or at least suggested aggressively, and frequently that Twitter take this or that other action, typically directed at shutting down comments from people that they disagreed with. And you remember, of course, when the COVID first came out, the discussion that this might have been a leak from Wuhan lab, and the powers that be acted quickly and fairly effectively to humiliate, shut down, close up, castigate those who were making that claim. Now, months later, we find that, in fact, that there is significant evidence that some of that was done. I think when we talk about the First Amendment, we're going to have to figure out a way to apply the First Amendment to publishers like Twitter, Facebook, and others, because there is no substitute for rigorous debate. The argument of the response to bad information is more information, and not for letting a handful of government entities select what information is or isn't good. It may well be that the populace is better served by working through a false argument and rejecting it than being hoodwinked from time to time or misled by government interference. And this is particularly true as it relates to political discussion. Misleading political discussion has always been with us and will always ever be with us. And we need to allow that discussion to be full-throated, free, and vigorous. Larry, let's do another obscene commercial break, and we'll come back and finish up for the day.
Okay, we can do that. And we are going to break right now.
They say consistency is the key to success. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently refreshing and light? Michelob Ultra, only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Central Distributors, Jackson.
If you're in business, you know just how important each call is. You don't have time for phone or internet downtime. Your business needs a reliable communications partner 24/7. You need Lifeline Voice and Data. Lifeline Voice and Data provides telephone service to emergency service facilities all over West Tennessee and beyond. For your business, we don't just provide a phone line. We provide a lifeline. Lifeline Voice and Data.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Central Distributors, Jackson.
Hey, this is Chuck Walker with Southeastern Termite and Pest Control. We recently celebrated our 20th year in business here in West Tennessee. That's 2 decades of growth for us. We've added to our work family, moved locations a few times, seen our coworkers have kids and grandkids. We've even seen our clients who were kids when we started at their parents' house now call us to take care of their homes. Lots of things change over 20 years, but here's what hasn't. We can still be reached 24 hours a day. We still provide quality, guaranteed termite and pest control service for all of West Tennessee. We still are the go-to company for real estate closing letters. We still provide quality fungus treatments and affordable moisture barriers. We still take care of your bed bugs, brown recluse, and every other pest problem you could have. If you own a home, you need termite protection. And the biggest thing we've learned in 20 years, we need you. Give us a call 24 hours a day for a different kind of experience from a service company. Southeastern, 660-1052. That's Southeastern, 660-1052.
What's better than 20% over invoice or 15% over invoice or 10% over invoice? How about 0% over invoice? Wait, did I just say 0% over invoice? Hi, this is Sarah Beth Langley at Gene Langley Ford in Humboldt. As your authorized Ford ordering dealer, Gene Langley Ford, in partnership with Ford Motor Company, is accepting new orders at cost. So our price is your price. There's never been a better time to order your new Ford. Come see us today for details, and let's get your new Ford car, truck, or SUV on its way to your driveway. Struggling with credit issues? Not here. Our finance department can work magic to get you approved. Plus, every new Ford comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. And if you're looking for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, check out the great selection on our lot and online. Updated daily at GeneLangleyFord.com. And remember, March is Ford Truck Month. You really should try Gene Langley Ford before you buy. The dealership service bill.
At cost offer excludes Mustang GT
500 and Raptor. See dealer for warranty and financing details.
My name is Steven and I'm 41 years old. I started having problems with my weight, my focus, my energy all around. I spent thousands of dollars a year on supplements trying to get my weight down, and it never worked.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there is an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or creams.
I got the treatment, and it has been the best decision of my life. I feel great. I'm losing weight. I have more energy. I'm getting stronger in the gym, and I can focus so much better. And I notice that I also sleep better, and I'm always in a good mood. And I believe it's all because of the BioT treatment.
To schedule an appointment to find out if BioTE is right for you, call 731-462-3596. That's 731-462-3596.
News Talk West Tennessee includes newstalk965.com and Newstalk 96.5 FM, covering local news, sports, and weather on an extensive network of platforms, including radio, social media streaming, digital TV, live stream, podcasts, all on your devices. Our local and live weekday lineup includes Daybreak with Greg Wood and G-Unit, Walker Talks with Chuck Walker and Julie Holt, The Dan Reeves Show with Gina Langley and Larry Newman, Dave Ramsey, Jackson-Madison County Schools Game of the Week, UT Vols Sports, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Local, live, News Talk West Tennessee and newstalk965.com. Hear it first on News Talk 96.5 FM. We might be talking about you.
King Jewelers is not your typical jewelry store. It's an iconic symbol of love. Custom-made jewelry to suit the most discriminating taste. Or you can redesign an old piece that's just sitting in a jewelry box. Create something completely new and unique. Grover has over 40 years experience as a certified jeweler. Visit KingJewelerJackson.com. King Jewelers at 16B Conrad Drive, Jackson. Follow King Jewelers Jackson on social media for special savings.
Welcome to Hampton Inn and Suites of Jackson. Make yourself at home in any of the 83 rooms or suites. Hampton Inn and Suites exit 83 at I-40 is minutes away from all Jackson destinations like the West Tennessee Healthcare Sportsplex, Casey Jones Village, Jackson-Madison County General Hospital, and many industrial complexes. Enjoy free Wi-Fi, free parking, and free hot breakfast. Also a 24-hour fitness and business center. Welcome to West Tennessee. Make your reservations now by calling direct at 731-427-6100 or visit hampton.com.
They say consistency is the key to success. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently refreshing and light? Michelob Ultra, only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Central Distributors, Jackson.
Watch Tennessee Championship Wrestling every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on NewsTalkWestTennessee.com.
See all the Memphis legends: Jerry the King Lawler, Dangerous Doug Gilbert, Superstar Bill Dundee, along with stars of today: the Mid-South Prodigy Bam Bam Bundy, M.J. Davis, Mr. Marvelous Mike Mayo, Insane Dane, Big Gravy, The Rocket Josh Benson, Lucky P. Larson, and many, many more. You can also view TCW on the News Talk West Tennessee app for all your Apple and Android devices.
Catch Tennessee Championship Wrestling every Saturday at noon on NewsTalkWTN.com.
Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range, date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get: a shooting lane for two targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The Range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
Walker Talks with Chuck Walker. Weekdays 10 to 1. Only on 96.5 FM. News Talk West Tennessee and NewsTalkWTN.com.
All right, coming to you from News Talk 96.5 in Jackson, Tennessee. This is the Dan Reeves Show. I'm Dr. Mark Fowler, filling in for Lieutenant Dan, who's in Murfreesboro to announce the girls' basketball game tomorrow between Jackson Southside Ladyhawks and Livingston Academy. Larry, we were talking during the break about RuPaul jumping into this discussion about transgenderism.
Right. Let me read you what he had to say about it. You know, he's the face of the drag race franchise, which is on Bravo TV, which I've never watched. I have no desire, but if they want that show and people want to watch, go for it. The recent wave of anti-drag and anti-trans legislation introduced by Republican lawmakers in the United States. In an Instagram video on Wednesday, the Emmy-winning called the bills a classic distraction technique and urged Americans to register to vote. He says, hey, look over there, a classic distraction technique, distracting us away from the real issues that they were voted into office to focus on: jobs, health care, keeping our children safe from harm at their own school, RuPaul said. But we know that bullies are incompetent at solving real issues. They look for easy targets so they can give them impression of being effective. They think our love, our light, our laughter, and our joy are signs of weakness. But they're wrong, because that is our strength.
Well, you know, he raises a couple of interesting points. And the first point is that politicians are notorious for raising issues to distract and divide us. And this may well be one of them, because frankly, if a mother decides that taking her child to Drag Queen Story Hour is appropriate, who am I to say otherwise? Who is the government to say otherwise?
They're not.
They're not. Now, it becomes a little bit more problematic when the Drag Queen Story Hour devolves into sexually suggestive dancing, and or the children are invited to touch. And there have been videos on the internet where those kinds of things have happened. That troubles me a little bit.
Yes, that's inappropriate.
Yeah, but by the same token, if the parents are there and they don't have enough sense to intervene, who am I to say that they ought to intervene? You know, surely that there's a self-correcting course. Now, by the same token, Chris Todd was the sponsor of the bill. And I don't want to paraphrase, I don't want to misparaphrase, but basically the bill prohibited sexually inappropriate behavior in the presence of small children.
Right.
And I'm boiling it down, probably maybe too simplistic, but the purpose of which was very similar to the purpose that prevents minors from going to a strip club. If a strip club is your thing, all right, that's fine, but we don't need minors in there. No, and minors shouldn't go. And you know, paradoxically, there has never been a clamor for men to take their young boys to strip clubs. I don't know what that means, but there's a clamor to have drag shows and Drag Queen Story Hour, and that's fine, but not much of a clamor in the other direction. But in any event, I appreciate Representative Todd. I think he's onto something, but I think by the same token, RuPaul is onto something. We got big problems. We got the deficit. We've got crime. We've got illegal immigration. We've got a federal budget that's out of control. And he's right, picking on drag kings, that's low-hanging fruit.
Well, you know, they say, I've got bigger fish to fry.
That's right.
That used to be the old saying. I don't have time to fool with this and this.
Yeah.
You know.
I want to remind you about our good friends at Watson's Cleaning Service. They do commercial and residential cleaning services, stripping and waxing floors, buffing, cleaning offices, pulling trash, doing household cleaning, including washing dishes, dusting, and organizing. CWA Development, experts in renovation and restoration, including fire and water damage, lawnmower repair, gutter and roof cleaning. Warm weather's coming up. It's time to get that deck ready for the summer season. An Evening with a Rocket. Roger Clemens will be the guest for the 4th annual Trey Lindsay Scholarship Program. Clemens has an unprecedented 7 Cy Young Awards, 354 wins, 4,672 strikeouts, for a career spanning 24 years with the Red Sox, New York Yankees, Blue Jays, and Astros. In addition to Roger Clemens, there will be a silent auction with hunt packages, duck call packages, vacation packages, restaurant packages. Contact them for further information at 731-217-7187 or email Rocket Roger, capital R, Rocket, capital R, Roger, or R-O-G-E-R, 2023@gmail.com. This is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And in the land of the free and the home of the brave, we ought to expect our politicians to give us useful information and speak to us clearly, distinctly, and truthfully. Mark Twain says there is no distinctly American criminal class except the Congress. Lately, and and it seems perennially, leaders in Congress come to us, particularly from the Democrats, talking about how the rich don't pay their fair share. The rich don't pay their fair share. Let's talk about that. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1 of the United States Constitution gives the House of Representatives the exclusive power to lay and collect taxes. The tax code did not originate from secret mystic papyrus. It was written by the United States Congress. It is open for examination and subject to amendment at any time. If it is unfair, congressmen, congresswomen, fix it. If it's not unfair, leave us alone and quit yammering about it. But the notion is the rich do not pay their fair share, and the politicians who clamor for this never define what fair share would be. Let's take a look at that. The income tax code has always been progressive when it was enacted shortly after the passage of the 16th Amendment of the United States Constitution. The maximum tax rate was 7% on income over $500,000, which would be $7 million in 1994 dollars. The tax is 1% on income over $20,000, which would be $298,000 in 1994 dollars. It is obvious, of course, that at that time most people didn't make that much money and were not subject to the tax. At that time, the average wage for most laborers was less than $10,000 per year, and most people paid no tax. Today, here's where we are. The top 1% of wage earners pay or make over $750,000 a year. If you don't make $750,000, you're not in the top 1%. And you will pay, on average, $230,000 in federal income taxes. That's roughly 30% of your income. By contrast, a single wage earner making $32,000 pays only $3,641. The top 50% of all wage earners pay 97% of total income taxes. The top 1% of wage earners pay 38% of income tax revenue, and the bottom 90% pay only about 30% of income tax revenue. The top 1% make roughly 20% of the adjusted gross income, but pay 40% or almost twice as much as the next bracket. So the top 1% pay 40% of all income taxes, and the bottom percent makes 20% of the adjusted gross income, but pays much lower taxes. The mundane deductions that we talk about, charitable deductions, mortgage deductions, do benefit the rich compared to the middle income taxpayers because of the way the tax code is structured. But this lies at the feet of the Congress and not rich people. The people who are rich in this country characteristically have done something for which others are willing to buy. Henry Ford, John Rockefeller, Cornelius Vanderbilt did things that benefited the public and for which the public was willing to pay. Henry Ford built automobiles then available to the common man, allowing him to travel from one place to another and making his life much easier. Vanderbilt built railroads. Rockefeller developed petroleum. You know, Larry, petroleum started out as a waste product in Pennsylvania. Did you know that? Yeah. It was a pollutant. And Rockefeller figured out how to harvest that petroleum and do something useful with it. The Walton family may be among the most wealthy family in the United States of America, and they have done so by offering a package or a retail service that most people enjoy. I shop at Walmart. I'm confident there are people who enjoy working at Walmart who might otherwise be unemployed. And certainly Walmart's lower prices benefit a lot of people. It is true, of course, that the introduction of Walmart had a devastating effect on mom and pop grocery stores, mom and pop hardware stores, mom and pop clothing stores. But in reality, overall, the change has been positive. If it were not, mom and pop grocery stores, hardware stores, and clothing stores would still be in business. What is troublesome to me is this. The government at all levels, local, state, and federal, forcibly takes from me money to finance their projects. And most of their projects benefit either directly or indirectly them. To the extent that this money goes to pay for roads, bridges, schools, teachers, police, and firemen, and to support the deserving poor, I have no objection. But I do object to men with guns enforcing the collection of taxes that leads to COVID fraud, the abandonment of billions of dollars worth of military equipment to the Taliban, and crack pipes to drug addicts. And that's the word. Larry, what say you?
Man, I don't know. I was just checking the score. Tennessee lost.
Yep.
In the SEC to Missouri, of all people, but they're struggling without their little point guard that got hurt. So right. It's going to take them away. But they're not going anywhere in the. They'll be in about number 7. I think they said 7 or 9.
Right.
So they're probably one and out.
Okay. So Tennessee's not flourishing.
No, they're struggling right now.
That's a shame.
But waiting for the basketball game. I'll be up here tomorrow. We're going to be on the air about 10:30.
10:30.
And Dan and G Unit are already there, ready to go. So we got that going on. Now, what you got going on this weekend?
Nothing. I'm taking the weekend off. I'm gonna finish up my taxes and do my patriotic duty. But I am going to take advantage of every penny of deductions that I can possibly.
What are you going to do Sunday?
Sunday, I'll be teaching Sunday school. Probably go to church. Then
you're going to go an hour late.
Take it easy. Oh, hey, that's fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, Larry. That's why Larry runs the board. Keep us between the white lines. This weekend is
Spring forward. Daylight savings time.
Yeah, daylight savings time. So remember Saturday night to go to bed an hour earlier because you lose an hour of sleep, right?
Right.
You said it actually happens at 2:00 when most people are asleep, but you set your clocks an hour forward, and that way you won't be late to church because that's really, Larry Franklin, that's not a good excuse.
No, it's not.
No, but
I always turn mine ahead. So when I don't have, like, after the ball game, when I get home, I'll change it in my car.
Right.
And I'll go home and I'll change the stove, the coffee maker, and the microwave.
Uh-huh.
And that's the only clocks I've got in the house.
Right.
And then when it's 9:00, even though it's going to be 8:00,
yeah,
my bedtime is 9:00.
Right.
I'm pretty much headed to bed.
You're good to go.
So that when I wake up, I'm rested. I don't have that sluggish drug feel.
Right.
And when we fall back, then I'll fall back early.
Yeah.
And go all day like that. And, of course, gaining an hour and losing an hour are two different beasts
right.
there.
That's exactly right. When I was a student in England, I remember flying over, and among other things, there was a 6-hour delay. That didn't help. But I was severely jet lagged when I got to London. And I slept, I think, for a day and a half. But flying backwards, back to the States,
right,
I was ready to go.
Yeah.
I wasn't jet lagged at all. But in any event. What else is happening this week? And got some weather coming in this evening?
Got some weather coming in. It's gonna have some frost.
Right.
And then it's gonna rain tomorrow and part of Sunday.
Right.
And basically kind of the weather we've had the last few days. It's kind of going to be the same.
Okay.
I don't know how much rain we're going to get, but, if it rains, it rains.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Are they calling for just rain or thunderstorms?
Well, thunderstorms at night.
Okay.
And then rain during the day.
All
so.
Right. Well, hopefully we'll make it through all of that without
and it's only
50%.
Wind. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll make
see.
Without significant wind damage, and that would be good. My good friend Larry Newman running the board and keeping us between the yellow lines, keeping us out of the ditches. We appreciate that very much. Lieutenant Dan in Murfreesboro going to call the basketball game tomorrow. This is Dr. Mark Fowler. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy your Friday evening. This is News Talk 96.5.
This is WBFG 96.5 FM, Parker's Crossroads, Jackson.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. President Biden's proposed budget is being bantered about in the halls of Congress. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says Mr. Biden's 2024 budget will lower the trajectory of the national debt and help the nation's economy grow.
The president's proposals prioritize growth-enhancing investments that will build on the economic progress we've made, along with significant tax reforms that will substantially reduce the deficit, improve our long-run fiscal outlook, and reduce fiscal risks.
But Texas Republican Chip Roy says President Biden's budget is at war with freedom and prosperity.
His budget proposes a $3 trillion tax hike. We think we should do the opposite. We think we should be pulling government back, getting out of the way of the American people, letting them create growth and opportunity for their kids and grandkids. And if you create economic growth, you can actually grow out of the debt that we face.
Ukraine has rebounded from Russia's most recent overnight missile and drone barrage as the...
Hi, I'm Terica Smith, a local attorney and proud JMCSS graduate, but I'm also a JMCSS parent. We chose Jackson-Madison County Schools for educational options that are innovative and challenging. Whether it's the Academic Academy at Northeast or early college and career opportunities at JCM Early College High, JMCSS offers classes and programs that will prepare my son for college and beyond. Plus, JMCSS is a Level 5 district and tuition free. It just makes sense.
Hi, I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for the Jackson-Madison County School System. With an increased focus in the fine arts, athletics, workforce development, and early career opportunities for students, there's never been a better time to choose us. Tuition-free, Jackson-Madison County Schools. Visit jmcss.org today to schedule a tour or call 731-345-7011.
Precision Auto Body strives to provide you with excellent customer care. Precision Auto Body will gladly handle your insurance work. Get a free quote by logging on to precisionautobodytn.com. A lifetime warranty on any auto body or paint work. Precision Auto Body. Visit our location nearest you in Milan, Martin, or Dyersburg. PrecisionAutobodyTN.com. Have you noticed IV drips popping up all over town? But only one premier health and wellness provider, Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic, offers the latest advances in medical IV treatments. Our highly trained nurse practitioners administer nutrient-infused IVs and injections to provide essential quality of life vitamins and minerals. Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic. Safe, natural, replenishing. 1022 Greystone Square, Jackson. Request an appointment today at